Who's somebody else?
5.
Yeah, so are you gonna open or what do I just start talking? What do we do there?
Go.
We ready? We're on.
We're on.
Well, thank you guys for coming. Certainly there's a lot of excitement in the air this week. First game, there's been a lot of questions about our team over the last 8 months, 7 months, and we'll finally get to a point where we can start finding some of the answers. I want to start by crediting Coach Simpson and UT Martin for the job they've done. You know, when you look, they've won a championship, they've gone to the playoffs, they do a great job of coaching, and so right there, you know, because of their success, you're going to be up against something. And I've been on the other shoe. This will be their biggest game of the year. I know there's a lot of players on their team that probably are not happy that Tennessee didn't want them, and it's a very similar situation than what I've been to. So we expect them to play their best, and their best is good enough to beat us if we don't come ready to play, that's for sure. So I have a lot of respect for what they've done. Probably the two biggest concerns on our team right now are first time and first game. And I'll start with first game. Anytime you go into a new season, the first game brings a lot of anxiety. You're always concerned about turnovers. You're always concerned about big special teams plays. I think it happens every year. You know, the first few games you turn on the TV and that's the first thing you see. Guys coughing up the football, a big return on teams or a block punt. So all that first game stuff is there, whether you have a young team or a veteran team. And then the first time part is really about our young team. When you look at our 2D, I think we have 18 freshmen in the 2D and about 20 or 21 guys this is going to be their first time stepping out on that field. And with that comes a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, and if anybody can think about their first time doing anything, you know it's not your best. And so we have to do a great job as coaches to help manage our first timers, to get through the game and play as good as they can play. No new real update on injuries. Brent Brewer, Kevin Cooper, and Ben Bartholomew have all been kind of hobbled the last week or so with some nagging injuries, and we expect them to be back and ready to go. So we're a pretty healthy team other than the first two guys we lost in camp, and I hope we'll be that way come Saturday.
You listed Justin Hunter number 2 on the depth chart. Does he think he was there? Has he been included?
Well, he hasn't up to now, but we expect him to be. I was hoping it's before practice today. The indications we're getting are that it's going to, you know, we're going to get an answer soon. So I still don't have any resolution on that. Obviously, if he's not cleared, he won't be R2. But y'all know my frustration with this, and there's not much I can say more about it.
You talked about moving Gerald Williams to defensive tackle, the thought behind it, and maybe if some of the freshman defensive ends allowed you to make it.
Well, it's been a couple of things, Jimmy. You know, one is our lack of depth and experience at defensive tackle, and we have a lot of depth and experience at defensive end, and so we find ourselves with 5 or 6 defensive ends who we're not afraid to put in the game, and yet only a couple of tackles who have consistently performed to where we feel comfortable with them. So it's just a big picture philosophy. Put a better guy in it, put a better player in it. And will Gerald be a better tackle than he will in end? No, but he'll be better playing probably than, you know, the next defensive tackle. And what it's really going to amount to is more of a committee on the D-line. And it's going to be based on what the other team's running and what their personnel's in the game and what we anticipate them doing. So we're going to play a lot of guys. We're going to play some big guys in there. We're going to put some little guys in there and try to hold up when we can.
How do you take his statement with the position?
He's been great. You know, Gerald wants to play. He's going to play in too. He's still going to play in. So he's going to be kind of one of those back and forth guys, just like Corey Miller. He'll probably be the other guy that moves back and forth. But Malik's been pretty steady at defensive end, you know, and we think he brings something for us. But when we got to get some better pass rushers and faster guys in the game, and we can hold up on the run, that's when we move some of those ends inside.
Gerald was pretty hesitant to move linebacker
Gerald's been great. He's been great all summer. Been a team guy, and I know he's probably had a lot of issues prior to us coming here, but I think he's been like a lot of these guys. It starts with communicating what the expectation is, and not looking the other way when they don't meet the expectation, and then buying into the team concept. And I think Gerald has been phenomenal at that, and he wants to play. His attitude has been great, and because of that, he's gotten better every day. He really has. And in the last scrimmage was our most productive D-line.
Greg King isn't listed on your depth chart, is that because he's so far behind with the injuries?
Yeah, he's just so far behind. It doesn't mean we're not going to try to work him in and catch him up, but you know, he didn't go through spring practice or training camp, so his injuries have really set him back.
I think when you first came here, the guys said that you told them, I'm not gonna ask you to trust me, I'm gonna earn your trust. Do you feel like you've accomplished that, maybe more so than you ever thought you would?
I think we made progress, yeah. I think, again, you can blow it one day, so you don't ever arrive when it comes to trust. And, I mean, you're never, okay, I trust you, we're done. It's a day-to-day relationship building, and so I think that we've made a lot of progress in that area. I think the players understand what our expectation is, and they appreciate what we're trying to do for them. But you'll have to ask them that.
But follow up on that, when you got here, what did you tell the staff that you brought in, the assistants, about that process of them dealing with their individual units and building trust?
It's the same philosophical way of relationships, and communication is so important. And I told the staff that every player, when they look at a coach, you got to show two things for them. You got to show, number one, that you care about them as people, and that's the most important thing. And if they don't think you care about them as a person, you may as well forget it right then. You're not going to get them to do anything. And you show your care about them as people every day. And whether it's something related to school or their family or just how they're doing, it doesn't matter what it is. And then two, you got to show them that you can help them play better by your competency as a coach. And if you have those two things, I think they'll do anything you ever ask them to do. And as long as our coaches keep those two things in sight, then every day they know, number one, I got to show them how to care about them as people, and I need to care about them as people. And number two, I got to be a good football coach. I got to be able to help them. And everybody I hired, you can't fake caring about people. You can't fake that. So everybody I hired, they're good people. They're genuine people, and they care about the kids.
You talked about the players' first game and anxiety. Do you feel any anxiety? I mean, you're always kind of even keel, but is there any anxiety?
I'm not always even keel. You just see me when I am. That's why we close practice. So y'all can always see me even keel. I won't be even keel in the games. I'll have anxiety. I do, I hope I have it if I'm coaching in 20 years from now. I think it's healthy to be a little nervous and to be a little on edge because your mind's working. I don't have it right now because I'm really worried about today's practice. And that's all I'm concerned about. But I'm sure I'll have some. But you also have to maintain a cool head, and learning how to control your fears and anxiety is important as a coach, and just like it is as a player.
Derek, when you're Georgia was
The boss trumps you, man. I mean, he shut down quick right now.
He's learned really well. When George was at the top of his game under your dad, he had a great reputation for finding anything about a lesser opponent and building that up where you felt like you're getting ready to play the Pittsburgh Steelers in their prime. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and we used to joke about that as kids until you get into coaching, and then you realize he was right, because for every time that you overlook somebody or you don't take them seriously, you get embarrassed. And I think the biggest thing that my dad always did was you always have to prepare for their best, because that's what you should expect them to bring.